Good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday, the 4th of March, 2025. You're watching Morning Brew here with me, Graham Hughes, on Politics Social. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well. I hate to say, I told you so, especially in situations like this. But my God, did I tell you. We all saw this coming. America under that fat, orange, sleazy scumbag Trump has stabbed Ukraine in the back, stabbed the UK in the back, Canada, Mexico, France, Germany, the coalition of the willing, the countries that stood up with America, by America, fought at America's side after 9/11. For the only time that Article 5 of NATO's treaty had actually been enacted. We were there. We were there. Over 1,000 Europeans died fighting alongside Americans in their daft military adventures around the world. And what thanks to beget? Trump has handed Vladimir Putin the biggest victory of that little sleazy gangster gobshite's life. My God. My God, it's actually happened. Thought it would, and then it did. And I know there are people out there who are like, oh, but Graham, you know, the courts will stop him, the Dems will step up. I hung a flag upside down, Graham. I wrote an angry tweet, Graham. Oh, yeah, great, well done, people in power. Not you, not me. You know, we can do fuck all, really. Do you know who stepped up to the plate? Keir Starmer. Do you know who else? Macron. I mean, the leaders of a lot of other countries have stood up and said, no, we're going to stand by Ukraine, like what America was doing up till like a month ago. So what he's done is he's frozen aid to Ukraine. So not only is he not giving any more aid to Ukraine, which was a given, that's been the situation since January, it's been a trickle. But what he's done is there's over $1 billion worth of military aid sitting in warehouses and on airstrips in Poland, and that's just going to stay there now. He's not going to give it to them. The treacherous, groveling, snivelling, backstabbing bastard. Are we ever going to forgive Trump for this? No. Are we ever going to forgive America for this? Ooh. I don't know. I think that depends on what America does next and what Americans do next. I don't know if they're minded to stand up against authority. They all claim that they all have to own a gun in case, you know, the US government is overtaken by a tyranny. Guys, hello. Hi, it's Britain. We know about tyranny. You've been overtaken by a tyranny. That's all I can say. This isn't just about being pro-Russian, pro-Putin, pro-Kremlin. This is about a direct treason against America and against the West. The largest superpower in the world chumming up with Putin. And I've said for ages, you know, Putin, the Russian army, paper tiger, paper bear. Because they don't have the weapons. They don't have they haven't looked after their kit. You know, it's all been a bit shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, they haven't done their job properly. Did anyone expect them to do their job properly? Well, you know, they've got a lot of meat, haven't they? But America teaming up with them. Maybe America's going to be the meat from now on, eh? In that shit sandwich that is Russia's territorial ambitions, Russia's imperialism, as they go around invading other people's countries and annexing their land. Maybe Americans can fight alongside them, send their boys and girls off to Eastern Europe to die on the battlefields, fighting democracy. Fighting against democracies. Do you see? Do you see how disgusting that is? They're propping up a fascist dictator who is fighting against a democracy. Fucking hell. Wow. What a time to be alive, eh? What a time to be alive. Got a couple of super chats that have come in. We've got Paul already. Rant away, Graham. We have Ukraine and Canada's backs. Thank you for the £2 super chat. We've got a message coming from Ivan. I'm done. My mental health comes first. If I don't take this approach, my life could be no more. Ivan, please stop watching. Seriously, mate. Thank you so much for the super chat. If you made it this far, please stop watching because this isn't going to cheer you up at all. I'll send you a message on WhatsApp after the show just to say, you know, hang in there and there's reasons to be positive. But I'm not going to be listing them in this show. I'm just going to warn everyone now. Content warning. I'm just writing down text Ivan and then circling it on my pad, or I will forget because I've got ADHD. Morning, Graham. Thank you very much to Katrina Tam. Did you hear Trump's ordered all US cybersecurity to stop working against Russian cyber threats altogether? Yeah, we mentioned that on the show last night on Stateside with Tim and Scott. We mentioned it, and wow, yes. So that gives Russia access to things that Russia shouldn't have access to. I posited on Sunday night the idea that Russia and America might team up and split the Arctic between each other. I'm going to go one further today. I think they might team up and split Europe between themselves. Who's going to stop them? Who is going to stop them? Not the Americans. Not the Americans. Oh, there's stuff happening, Graham. I'm sure there's stuff. There was a senator, and she made a speech. Good job, Dems, you fucking dickheads. Good job standing up against tyranny. Well, we're gonna have a committee meeting. That'll show them. Oh, you're gonna have a committee. You're gonna have a committee meeting, right? Fucking great, wonderful. Talk about bringing a fucking banana to a fucking gunfight. So we're watching history unfold right now. You know, this is the day that America officially abandoned the world. Well, technically it was yesterday, but it was the day for us in the UK. And I'm just going to go for GMT now for the rest of time because fuck it. It's my time. It's our time. GMT. Like in the Goonies. This is our time. The day that Putin got everything he ever wanted handed to him on a silver platter. And the parallels with Brexit are obvious. That was a successful Russian coup to cleave the UK off from the rest of Europe. Very successful. And then they went on to the bigger fish to cleave the US away from Europe, the US away from NATO. Two things that Putin hates. He does hate himself, but NATO and the EU. He set himself a goal back in the late 90s of destroying both. And he's come closer than any other human being in history. Is he going to win? I don't think so. We'll get into that later. But this is Trump's disgraceful decision we're talking about today. All US military aid to Ukraine is to be paused immediately. Even shipments that are en route, even shipments that are literally on a boat going to fucking Ukraine right now. Or going to Poland, because Ukraine's landlocked. Kind of a bit difficult to get stuff through to the port of Odessa. Mate. Weapons in transit blocked. Russia is now going to have an easier time slaughtering innocent Ukrainians. Slaughtering them. Women and children being bombed. And the Trump regime is even threatening to cut off intelligence sharing, effectively blinding Ukraine on the battlefield. And given that they've, as Katrina Tams pointed out, they've given, the power of their internet to Russian hackers, Russia's going to get that intelligence. Ukraine won't. So this is when Ukraine has to start fighting dirty. And I honestly believe that if it was my choice now, if I was Starmer, if I was the leader of France, Germany, Poland, I'd be committing troops now to Ukraine today. That's it. We're going to have troops going in and they're going to start killing Russians. They're going to start bombing the fuck out of those Russian front lines. Sorry, you've got to go. Missiles, tanks, the lot. It'll be over in a day. It will be over in a day. I don't care how many little squishy little things that are meat bags that Russia has to send to the front from foreign climes, but it won't be enough. And they haven't got the defences. They haven't got the air superiority. They haven't got fuck. All they've got is Donald Trump, and he's the biggest fuck of all. And this fucking grovelling to the Kremlin. Parroting lines from the Kremlin. Could you believe it? It's not just appeasement. This is active collaboration. It was said over the weekend by the Kremlin that Russia's interests were aligned with that of America's. And any American defending this, tell them to fuck off and get out of your life. Because Americans who defend this, or British people who defend it, or any fucker who defends this would kill you without a second thought. They are the people who will dob you in to the fucking Gestapo, to the fucking Stasi, to the fucking secret police, and have you shipped off to a death camp. That's the type of person who goes in for this kind of shit. That's the type of person who voted for Trump. To be honest with you, that's the type of person who votes for Farage and for Brexit. Although some of them are coming round. Some of them. Some of them are just as scumbaggery as ever. Get them out your life. Don't let them know where you live. Change your fucking phone number. Get them out your life. This is a bloody, this is a public health fucking warning here, okay? We have to look after ourselves. And if that means cutting people out of our lives who are actively trying to kill us, then that means that. This time last year, this would all have sounded like fucking hyperbole. But now it's all too real. It is all too fucking real. Get these people out your life. Just get them completely out of your life. JD Vance called Zelenskyy entitled. Entitled! As if he's asking for a free handout instead of fighting for his country's survival. Entitled. Do you know what entitled is, JD Vance, with your twatty fucking eyeliner and your 10 fucking names that you've had in your life since you were born? Do you know what's entitlement? Being the power that can say, oh, you've been invaded by another country. Ooh, we could help, but we want something in return. We want all your mineral wealth. We want you to pay us more than we made Germany pay at the end of World War I in reparations. Ha ha! That's entitlement, you horrible little podgy twat. Makeup, look at fucking Trump wearing makeup, JD Vance wearing makeup, makeup fucking twins. In that room, Zelenskyy was the only man not wearing makeup. Sorry, in that room, Zelenskyy was the only man. Doesn't need the suffix. JD Vance dismissed European leaders as hypocrites. Hypocrites! Look up the word hypocrisy in the fucking dictionary. It's got a picture of JD Vance. While ignoring the fact that the US under Trump has become Putin's greatest asset. All those Americans who died fighting against the Soviet Union, or fighting proxy wars against the Soviet Union, fighting proxy wars against communism in Korea or in Vietnam. Yeah, bet they're all having a great time. I'm sure none of them are turning in their graves at this. Imagine America, the height of the Vietnam War, going, listen, the Viet Cong, or the Viet Minh as they really were, but let's call them the Viet Cong because that's what the Americans call them. We're going to do a deal. We're going to do a deal with the Viet Cong. We're going to leave you all to die. Wow. It is war then. Yeah, absolutely. I should have something set up, shouldn't I? Like the day-to-day where it goes, it's war. Trade war, at least today. People are saying that Trump's too stupid to know what he's doing. Trump's not that stupid. I mean, he is stupid, but not in that way. Do you know what I mean? He's greedy and selfish and self-aggrandizing and everything else. But he likes money, and if you offer him lots of money, he'll sit up and bark, and he'll sell you a steak and a university and golden trainers. That's what he does. He's a little bitch to money, and so Putin's come along and said, "I'm going to give you all this money." Frozen assets, Don't forget the sanctions against Russian oligarchs were all lifted as soon as Trump got into office. In that first wave of declarations that he signed, he couldn't read them. He needs reading glasses, clearly. Can't read. He just signed something that was put in front of him by Russian operatives, by the Russians who propelled him to power. And if there's any red-blooded Americans who aren't happy with working for Russia, I mean, look, there are a load of Americans. Don't get me wrong. I reckon of the 77 million dickheads who voted for this fucker, I reckon probably 77.3 million. I think 77 million of them, basically, yeah, they would love to work for Russia. They would love to live under Russian regimes. They love the idea of having to queue for bread, ratting on your neighbour, always being scared to say anything in case you offend dear leader and he throws you out a fucking window or makes you eat a polonium salad or gives you Novichok in a perfume bottle or just, blows you up in a plane. Or invade your country. Who don't say anything about dear leader? That's the world they want. They want a world in which no one can say anything bad about their leader. Because these are pathetic beta creeps who the whole thing with their incel movement, they know that the incel movement's going to die out in a generation for obvious reasons. Unless we have some kind of thing like the Handmaid's Tale set up. They read The Handmaid's Tale and they didn't read it as a warning, of what could come next. Written in 1985, a year after 1984. The year, not the book. They just saw it as a handbook of how to do it. The Handbook's Tale. The Handmaid's Handbook. How to do it. Anyway, so, yeah, this is exactly what Putin wanted, Divide and weaken the West? Check. Starve Ukraine of military support? Check. Ensure Russia can dictate the terms of the peace deal? Check. I mean, Trump's entire presidency has been one long love letter to Vladimir Putin. In 2016, Russian interference helped get Trump elected. In 2018, the Helsinki summit, Trump sided with Putin over US intelligence. His own country's intelligence services were telling him one thing, and he's like, no, my friend Vlad, just getting the drool from his mouth. My friend Vlad told me this was, it wasn't true. And then in 2019, he tried to blackmail Ukraine by withholding aid and got impeached for it. But obviously he got acquitted in the Senate because no Republican has a spine. And then in 2024, publicly said he would refuse to defend NATO if one of them got invaded. He would ignore Article 5 of the treaty mentioned in the name of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Article 5, if one of us is attacked, all of us is attacked. He basically gave Putin the green light for future invasions in Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and countries that are not in part of NATO as well, but like Moldova. Do what you like. And then now he's actively strangling Ukraine's military. And the question that I want these snivelling little fuckbags in the American press, they go, Mr. President, I love you. Can you tell me how much you love me? Right, how about you ask them this fucking question, right? If Trump was a Russian agent, so Mr. President, if you were a Russian agent, name me one thing that you would do differently. Go on. Fucker. But look, here's the pudding, as Rachel likes to say. We have a coalition of the willing. Europe is stepping up while the US cowers timidly behind a blanket. Go away, rest of the world. It's sitting there on the couch, listening to All By Myself and eating chocolate and crying about how unjust the world is to the richest country in the world. No, it's not fair. The reason I don't have the things I want in my life is not the billionaires who have stolen all our money. No, it can't possibly be that. It must be the Ukrainians for standing up against tyranny and not wanting their country to be invaded. 20% of their country being invaded. Imagine for a moment that 20% of America was invaded. All of Florida, all of the Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, Alabama, fucking Texas, throw it in there. It's taken by Russia, and it's like, you got to give it to him. You really were asking for it, And you talk to these MAGA fucking dickheads, and they twist themselves in knots, going, "Oh yeah, but Zelenskyy started the war, by what? By enlisting Russian mercenaries to invade his own country. Yeah, that's what happened. So he started it in 2014 before he became president. Yeah. Okay, I don't really know how that works, but all right. All right, dickhead. But yeah, this is what they believe. This is what they've been told to believe. This is what they're, this is all they've got. Scene, Studio 54, New York, music, Macho Man by the Village People, circa 1980, pump. Putin banging Trump in a back room as Ivanka watches. Thanks for that, Christopher. Thanks for that, thanks for that beautiful moment. I'm just gonna do that in a moment. I'm a bit annoyed about my tripod here, actually. I'm just gonna do this. Hopefully it'll be a little bit straighter. No, I'm too low. Hang on. Bring the chair up a little bit. That's better. Sorry, it's just been annoying me the whole show. The fact that it's been on a bit of a slant. Don't know if anyone noticed, but it was. Jack Ventriano died yesterday. Bit of a shame. That's my partner's picture. My pictures all over there, and they're all like movies. African Queen, Spellbound, Sunset Boulevard. Anyway, so yeah, housekeeping done. I think I have to sit up straight for the rest of the show now. So look, Keir Starmer, Macron, and European leaders are not backing down. UK, France, Poland, the Nordics, and others are rallying around the effort to try and keep rallying around to try and keep Ukraine's war effort alive. Europe is proving it has a spine, unlike America under Trump, this weak, shriveled up little creature cowering in the corner that it's become. And the question is, how will NATO survive without America? Well, I think it can, but what an issue is going to be is, can NATO survive with America actively working against it? Like America teaming up with the enemy that NATO was designed to stand as a bulwark against. Not to invade Soviet Union territories, we never did that. Not to invade Russia, we never did that. Not to cause any, it's a defensive stance. It's like, if you invade one of us, you invade all of us. And I can see why smaller countries bordering Russia or Belarus might want to go down that route. Can you? Because obvious. And don't forget, Latvia and Lithuania and Poland have a border with Russia in Kaliningrad. They border Russia and they're members of NATO. This idea that oh no, we can't have NATO members all the way up to Russia, that's unfair on Russia. What? It's a defensive thing. I'm screaming this from the rooftops. There is a world of difference between fighting for survival, fighting a foreign aggressor who has come into your country, fighting for liberation from foreign barbarians who have come to your land to murder, rape, pillage. And people who are fighting to murder, rape, and pillage. People who are fighting for conquest. Okay? Two completely different things. What the right do is they conflate these two things and say all war is bad all of a sudden, which is a strange thing for people on the right to say, because they spent the last 100 years saying all war was great. Remember the lovely war? Remember how great the war was? Remember all the stuff we did in the war? Not me personally, but whatever. But now suddenly wars are bad. Any war's bad. We need peace at all costs. No. Not at the cost of Ukraine. Not at the cost of 20% of Ukraine. No. Not going to happen. This has got to stop. And we can stop them. We have the power to stop them. Trump has already hinted that he's up for leaving NATO completely. And okay, I think that we should stop sharing intelligence with them, to be honest with you. I think we should start shooting their fucking satellites out the fucking sky because they're spying on us. Fuck them. I think that we need trade sanctions. Trump's going, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have tariffs got to come in today for Mexico and Canada. Okay, fucking hit them back. Hit them back harder. Just fuck it. There's nothing that America makes that we can't get elsewhere. That's the thing. And that's the thing that America's going to learn very fucking quickly over the next few months. There is nothing on this planet that America makes that we cannot get from somewhere else. And if that means we have to restructure the entire fucking internet, we have to get rid of their fucking GPS satellites over our countries, then fair enough. They got to go. It's a brave new world. But it's one that we're going to be living in for the next few years until Trump fucking dies. So yeah, US isolationism is exactly what Russia and China want. You know, it's China. You know, just exactly what they want. And North Korea. And every other tin pot dictatorship around the world. They're celebrating right now. And Europe needs to form its own military alliance, shorn of NATO. We talked about this before with Canada and Australia and New Zealand. Phil was saying last week, oh no, but we don't have ships to send to New Zealand. I don't give a fuck. New Zealand's not going to get invaded by Russia. It's just not going to happen. It's too far away. It's not no point. There's no point in invading it, okay? But what we can share is intelligence, which we do at the moment through the Five Eyes, okay? Bring that in. Bring that into our new version of NATO. The not American Treaty Organization. The Never America Treaty Organization. NATO 2.0. The NATO without America. Get Japan on board. You want electronics? You want semiconductors? Get Taiwan on board. Fuck it. Taiwan, would you like to join our defensive alliance so that if China ever invades you, we'll step up? They're not going to say no, are they? And give them say, look, we're gonna recognize you as an independent nation. We're gonna give you a seat in the UN. You know, like the one you used to have before America decided to give it to China instead. But what we're seeing here is like the death of American credibility. Really, this isn't just about Ukraine. This is about America betraying the entire democratic world, siding with autocrats, siding with barbarians, siding with the rape gangs, siding with the murderers of women and children, the torturers of women and children. The images of what happened in Bucha will stay with us for the rest of our lives, many of us who saw that. It was fucked beyond belief. And the fact it was happening in our continent, on our soil, here in Europe, by these fucking Eastern motherfuckers coming over here, murdering our people. And is there any? Is there a whimper of dissent from the likes of Nigel Farage? No, of course not. He couldn't give a fuck about his continent. All he loves is Russia, and Asia. You know, Russia, yeah, North Korea, lovely, China, ooh. Well, here's the thing, right? The amount of money that we've given to Ukraine from European countries combined outstrips what America's given, right? We need to double what we've already given to Ukraine. And between us, all the countries in Europe, we can do that. We can do that. We can replicate what America has given it in military hardware. And we just have to make sure that we don't buy any of that military hardware from America. You buy it all from Britain, Germany, wherever. Also, there's the 300 billion that's been frozen of Russian assets. Fucking steal it. Just take it. Why are we holding it? No, fuck it. I don't give a fuck about international laws and order. America doesn't. Russia doesn't. Why the fuck should we? Why do we have to be the honourable ones who just leave the money there and don't actually fucking take it? No. Fucking take it. Impound their super yachts. Take all of their fucking Russian property on Rotten Row in Belgravia in London. Just fucking take it. Annex it for the crown. That's what we need to do. We could have billions in the bank by tomorrow, all given to Ukraine. Here you go. America's not going to give you the 1 billion that you were waiting to get in military aid. So we're going to give you, let me do some calculations here, 300 billion instead. There you go, Ukraine. Go and murder a bunch of fucking Russian invaders who are in your country illegally, murdering and raping and killing with absolute impunity if the Trump administration allows it. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. We need Russian oligarchs out of our country. We need Russian money out of our politics. We need Russian bots. We need to be fighting against disinformation on the internet. And we need to be doing this fucking yesterday. People are saying we're shocked. Were you shocked by this? Because I fucking wasn't. If you've been paying attention to these shows, you know what my attitude is. You can't trust Trump as far as you can spit. Whatever you think however bad you think he's going to be worse. He's going to be worse. And he is. There we go. This is happening. Am I saddened by the fact this has happened? Of course I am. I'm not shocked. I'm not sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that seems like something he would do. You know, it's like Picasso painted the painting. It's front page news. Picasso paints painting. I'm like, yeah, that's what he does. He paints paintings. Why is that front page news? Trump betrays the West. Yep, that's what he does. Why is that even front page news? Why is it a shock to anyone? And, you know, if America abandons its allies today, why should anyone stand with them in the future? And this is the big thing, because what's going to happen in the next couple of years, you know, along with Trump only leaving the White House in the box and, you know, Elon Musk upsetting Trump at some point and being cut loose and ending up in jail and getting Epsteined, which I can see happening. One of the things is there's going to be a massive terrorist attack in America. Massive, absolutely massive. It might be a false flag operation. You know, that'll keep the conspiracy theorists happy, won't it? Oh no, because they don't think it's a false flag when it's actually a false flag, do they? No, it's only when it isn't a false flag that they go, oh my God, fire can't melt steel. It can weaken it though, dickheads. And then, you know, will China see this as a sign to invade Taiwan? This is where we have to start looking at the future of global security. Will Russia push further into Europe, knowing the US ain't going to stop them? Well, no, because we're going to stop them. Us, Europeans. We need the UK back in the EU. We need a European fucking army, and we need to bomb the shit out of Russia, bomb it back to the Stone Age. Well, I mean, you know, it wouldn't take much, would it? Fucking Russia. It's a shithole. It's a miserable shithole full of miserable fucking people who are fucking miserable. Except me, because I've got a couple of friends from Russia. They're all right. But apart from them, have you ever met a happy Russian? No, because they've lived under tyranny for the last 500 years. And, like, you know, Darwinism, they've been bred to love a tyrant, been bred to love not being able to express themselves or say what they want about anyone, especially dear leader, because of the consequences of their actions. Fuck it. What do they have? Borscht? Oh, can you live without borscht? Can you live without vodka? I fucking can. Vodka's disgusting. It tastes like fucking paint stripper. It's a 14-year-old girl's drink with a fucking bottle of Diet Coke on a swing in a fucking playground somewhere. That's what it is, not a fucking real drink. Real people don't drink vodka. Real people drink whiskey. Liz Allen, thank you very much for joining the channel. Welcome, new members. Liz Allen has joined Lone Star. Trump's GOP, the genital obsessed party, the Republicans, has become a pro-Putin, anti-democracy cult. They worship dictators, they despise democracy, and they see the rule of law as an inconvenience. That's a lie. This isn't just Republican cowardice. This is treason. This is treason. And there's only one thing to do to traitors. Make an example of them. Because otherwise you'll just get more traitors, eh? Right? Isn't that what they say in America about murderers? They better murder the murderers, otherwise there'll be more murders. That works really well, doesn't it, America? Well, you know, live by the sword, die by the electric chair. Trump and his scumbag VP, J.D. Vance, have chosen their side, and it's not with democracy. It's not with freedom. It's not with decency or honor or respect. It's with Vladimir Putin and his gang of murderous oligarchs. That's who they've put their lot in with. So fuck them. If you're watching this in the US, which I doubt you are because it's the middle of the night, but maybe Mikey's out there. Hi, Mikey, if you're there. Vote these traitors out. That's the obvious thing. But I don't think you're going to get an opportunity to do that. So what can you do? I think we need, as I said yesterday in the show, we need an American Gandhi. We need someone who says to the American people, gives them direction and says, right, this week we are going to absolutely nuke Apple. We're going to nuke Coca-Cola. We are going to nuke whoever, right? Absolutely fuck them up for a couple of weeks. No one buys Coca-Cola. All Coca-Cola in the world is made in Georgia. Let's make that very clear. All Coca-Cola in the world is made in America. If for some reason, as if, I don't know, the roads are blocked or something, they won't be able to get the Coca-Cola out of Georgia, and to the bottling plants around the world where it's mixed with local water. That's why it tastes a bit different. And there are different recipes for different territories, but generally speaking, not generally speaking, but absolutely all American Coca-Cola, all Coca-Cola around the world, the syrup for it is made in Atlanta, Georgia. So, yeah, maybe one day that syrup can't get out and Coca-Cola stock, just goes off a cliff. How will the Coca-Cola executives feel about that? How will the Disney executives feel if there's a massive, massive boycott of Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Plus? How would the executives of Apple feel if everyone just ditched their iPhone for a Samsung model? Hey, could happen. That's what we have because we're the consumers. If we refuse to consume, then we can make a big difference. But here's the thing, it's got to be targeted. It's got to be like, we're going after this company this week, this company next week, this company, or it might be for a month, might be whatever. Boycott it for a month. That's it. Can you go without Coca-Cola for a month? Great. Go without Coca-Cola for a month. Just do not buy. And for us in the UK, just try not to buy American at all. Just see a McDonald's, say, fuck off, you disgusting, greasy, plastic-tasting nonsense. Not even food. I accidentally ate, when you sort of, you've got the wrapper, yeah, and you bite into the burger and you actually get a bit of wrapper. And you're like, the sort of grease-proof wrapper that they have, that tastes better than the fucking burgers they make. So, yeah. Are we talking about Coca-Cola or just supermarket cola? I'm talking about Coca-Cola. I mean, supermarket cola can be made anywhere, but Coca-Cola can only be made in Georgia. The reason being it can only be made in Georgia is because they have the only contract in the world to bring coca leaves into America for non-pharmaceutical purposes. That's the coca leaves that you make cocaine from. And they bring them out to make the coca extract that you get in Coca-Cola. And that's why Coca-Cola doesn't taste quite like any other cola. Because it used to have cocaine in it. Now it has an extract of the leaves, which has all the cocaine taken out of it. Fun facts. Hey, fun facts, kids. Can buy decent quality generic colas in shops? Absolutely. Coca-Cola and Pepsi, for that matter, is so bad for your health anyway. Yeah, Katrina, I mean, a can of Coke is what, 39% of your daily recommended allowance of sugar? I mean, come on! Come on! 39%! Jesus. Gillian says, not drunk cola for years, only good for cleaning. It's not good for cleaning, it's sticky. I wish people stopped saying this. I'm sorry, Gillian, but it's not. Use water. I saw a video once. It was like, oh yeah, they use Coca-Cola to clean up bloodstains. No, they don't. Use fucking water. So, I'm not going to drink water anymore because they use it to clean up bloodstains. It's like, yeah, soapy water, really good at cleaning bloodstains. But Coca-Cola's got citric acid in it, or some form of acid. It's the same orange juice, You can do the same tricks that you can do with Coca-Cola, like, leave a tooth in it and watch it decay. You can do that with orange juice as well, and lemonade if it's got sugar in. I mean, anything that's got citric acid, it's got acid in it. It's not, but it's really not good for you to be drinking that much sugar in a can. No, it's not good for you in the wild. When humans were running around on the plains of Africa, we didn't have fucking chocolate and sugary drinks. And so if we had found something that was really sweet, we didn't have the same sort of feedback mechanism required to go, oh, I've had enough of that. You can sit there all day and eat sweets because your brain's like, yeah, more of that. Whereas you can't sit there really all day and eat fried chicken. I suppose you could if you really tried, but it'd be a bit difficult because you get to a certain point where you go, oh, I'm full now. But sugar doesn't really have the same effect. Honestly, think about the times when you've gone, oh, I'll just have one chocolate, and then you've finished a whole fucking packet of, or biscuits. He says, with his, where's my ginger nuts gone? Oh, I must have put them back in the kitchen. Anyway, so yeah, not great. Coca-Cola has phosphoric acid in rather than salt. Okay, Katrina, thank you very much. Yeah, I didn't think it was citric acid. I knew it was an acid. But yeah, don't use the clean stuff because normally I have to use stuff to clean up the Coke that the girls spill on the kitchen table, and it's sticky and horrible. It's all right. It's Coke. It's self-cleaning. But yeah, so look, if you're in the UK and anywhere else, if you're in any other non-American country, we need to have a coordinated boycott of American products and American goods. We need to coordinate it. Now, I was a bit gung-ho for coordinating it, but I've been kind of put off by people who go, oh no, but what about if we haven't had a committee meeting first? Which I find quite dispiriting. So if some of you in the chat want to sort of spur me on to actually bother to put something together, you know, a website, no thanks Yanks, with a list of, you know, these are the places that you shouldn't frequent anymore. These are the places that you can. Like I mentioned yesterday, Burger King is surprisingly now owned by a Canadian company that owned Tim Hortons, who are Canadian, and now also owns Popeyes, who are Louisiana Fried Chicken, LFC. I can see why that didn't work. They're now owned by a Canadian company, so go nuts. Say no to KFC, say yes to LFC. Oh God, I never thought I'd say that being an Evertonian. So yes, it is just, this is stuff that we can do because at the end of the day, Trump and all his oligarch friends are oligarchs, and oligarchs are driven by money. They're driven by greed, and they're finding out quite quickly that when they go in to try and cut waste, government waste, the cupboard is dry. On the list of things, programs that have been cut by Doge, people have gone through them. They've found that instead of saying 1 million, it's been 1 billion. They've found that things have been replicated 3 times. They've found that some of the things that they've said they've gotten rid of date back to 2005 when George W. Bush was president. I mean, come on. God, Jesus. But yeah, so they're finding that the cupboard is quite bare, that there ain't too many savings to be made. And when they're like, oh, we've made 7 billion of savings, and it turns out to be like 700,000, and then it turns out that program was stopped in 2005 anyway, they're going to find very quickly that there's not much to shave off the federal budget. Because you know where most of the federal budget goes? On the fucking army, on the fucking military. That's where it goes. And if any of these fucking mealy-mouthed yank cunts say, people from countries, say to you, America's been propping up Europe all these years. No, it hasn't. America has said to us, you need to spend X amount of your GDP on arms, and I'll tell you where you got to buy your arms off us. You got to buy it off the Americans. That's what they say. You know, it's a protection racket. It's an absolute protection racket. It's like feeling sorry for the fucking Craze or Duggan Dinsdale Piranha. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, he used to nail me head to a table once a week, but I won't ever wear it against them. Try Gaza Cola, says SG. I might try that. And then Optimistic, thank you very much for the super chat, SG. And then we've got Optimistic Nihilist saying, my uncle is a pro kayak instructor. They drink cola or beer after being in the river to purge them inside of the germs they pick up. It's effective. Well, it's interesting you say that because when I was traveling 4 years and 1 month through some of the most unsanitary conditions imaginable, you know, public transport through West Africa, for instance, I didn't get ill. And I ascribed that to the fact that I would only drink water if it was in a bottle, which is not great for the environment because it's plastic, whatever. But mostly I drank beer and the occasional Coca-Cola. And I was always amazed by Coca-Cola's logistical reach. The fact that you could walk down a dirt track in, through a forest in Gabon, through the jungles of Gabon for 2 days and find a little isolated Bwiti village there, Bwiti tribe, and they'll have Coca-Cola. They'll have fucking Coca-Cola. You know, it's like, how did you? They don't have any medicine, they don't have any food, but they got Coca-Cola. Yay! But yeah, so I made sure that I stuck on the beer. Not too much of it, you know. I didn't get drunk every night. Can't do that anymore. I'm in my later 40s now. I'm on the wrong side of 45. That's embarrassing, isn't it? Jesus. Time makes a fool of us all. Nick and Div said, I can't think of anything specifically American that I buy except for tech, but not in the market for that right now. Be good to have a list of boycotts. My Brexit boycott is still going strong. Yeah, Nick and Div, I was going to make a website that just listed that. But like I say, I was put off it by people going, oh, you might get sued by Coca-Cola or something. What are you going to do then, dickhead? And I was just like, oh, okay, well, that's really dispiriting and deflating. I'm like, who cares? Like, it's just a list of American companies. And me saying, don't buy these. I mean, is that against the law? Is that, if I say they put glass in the fucking products, I think that's a suitable offence. But if I just say, I don't think you should buy these products, I mean, I don't know what they can do. Anyway, I don't have much to take off me, to be honest with you. I don't know how far their jurisdiction reaches. But yeah, I suppose they can take all this kit that I've got here. That was all kindly donated by other people. But yeah, Katrina Tam, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Here's a tiny bit of financial motivation to make a list of things to boycott. Here's to start you off: Amazon, McDonald's, Coke, and Tesla. Okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll make a website today. I was going to start because I've been invited somewhere in September, and if I go to this thing, I need to have a bunch of stuff ready for it that I don't have ready at the moment. So because I'm ADHD and because I really thrive on deadlines, I like the fact that this is giving me a deadline. I've got a deadline to get this shit done. So yeah, I'll step up. Okay. I'm also working on the project for the Impressive Foundation, which is going to give content creators a universal basic wage and employment rights. So they get sick pay, holiday pay. They get a lawyer on retainer, so they can, if we get sued for saying the wrong thing about the wrong person, we get an accountant, so we don't have to pay a separate accountant for doing our taxes, and we don't have to do it ourselves because, oh my God, it's a nightmare. Even if you're only earning like £12,500 a year, it's a nightmare. But there you go. Optimistic Nihilist, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Living in a regressionary period in history is depressing for sure, but we have to make the most of what we have and hope for the best in the long term and push for a bit better, bit by bit, where we can. I always remember back in the year 2000, I was quite despondent after George W. Bush won the election. By cheating, of course, because that's the way Republicans win. He cheated and he won because his brother was the governor of California. His brother was the governor of Florida. It came down to like 500 votes for the presidency, and it was getting the margins were getting smaller and smaller. And the Supreme Court ordered in December for the presidential vote to be stopped in Florida, and George W. Bush became president. And I was like, oh God, this is like the worst thing that could possibly happen. And I remember a friend of mine saying at the time, yeah, it's shit, but things like this in history, I mean, Phil often talks about, the elastic band, it springs back and it sometimes goes the other way. And after George W. Bush, after 8 terrible years of that knobhead, we got Obama, who was great, but absolutely stymied in every way and everything he wants to do by the Republicans, who just blocked everything he wants to do. While the Democrats aren't doing that. That's a video for another day, because I will lose you think I'm losing my shit today over Trump and Vance and stuff like that? I almost feel just as angry, if you can believe that, maybe even angrier at the fucking Democrats for doing absolutely nothing to protect democracy. It's in their fucking name. They call themselves Democrats. Fucking fight for democracy then. Block anything that Trump wants to do. Block them. Block. Don't turn up. When Trump gives a speech in your parliament building, a joint session today, right? Fucking make loads of make loads of noise, stamp your feet, just don't let him speak. Drown him out with jeers. Honestly, C-unit, I can't say the word here, but just clap your hands and say the word over and over again. And then when they drag you out the chamber one by one, say, help, I'm being silenced, like what the right-wing gobshites do. One good thing that's come from this is Nigel Farage has been shown up to be the traitorous dog that us on the left have known he is for years. Maybe a few people who follow him blindly might have the road to Damascus moment. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know if they've got the critical faculties to do that. Katrina Tam, thank you very much for the £10 super chat and the advice. To avoid lawsuits, if you just word it like, these are companies that don't align with my views, and personally, I don't buy from them. You can do what you want. Yeah. But honestly, I don't think anyone can sue you for saying, don't buy a Tesla. I've seen enough fucking memes of people saying, don't buy a Tesla. It's like, are they going to sue us all? I don't know. Let's go to the papers. Okay, so first of all, we've got the Mirror here. We've got Mikey Madsen, who won the Oscar for Anora. And then we've got Zoe Saldana, who won it for the Emilia Perez, which has upset a lot of people in Mexico and a lot of people in the trans community. Considering it's about a trans person in Mexico, it's quite worrying that's the way it went down. But there you go. There's Trump looking like a grizzled old turkey. United Kingdom, President says Zelenskyy doesn't want peace as he blasts Europe. In a rare show of unity, MPs from all sides have backed Keir Starmer in his support for Ukraine against Russia, and peace from all sides, except for refuck, by the way, the Russian arm of the Kremlin arm in our parliament. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Specimen of Homo erectus, possible tooth decay from honey, says One Angry Pagan. Yeah, because honey wasn't a thing that you found everywhere, and if you found it, you just keep eating it, just keep forever. There's the Oscar winners there. A-list cast: Adrian Brody, Mikey Madison, Zoe Saldana even, and Kieran Culkin show off their acting Oscars after the ceremony in Hollywood. The gags and speeches. Do you know what? I feel a bit embarrassed because I haven't seen the Brutalist. I have seen Honora. I haven't seen Emilio Perez, and I haven't seen A Real Pain. Maybe I should. How I found out I have osteoporosis at only 55. 1/3 of children overweight by 2050. I blame America. Trump lambasts Europe for showing weakness. President criticizes demand for US security guarantee. Growing fears he will halt Ukraine aid. Obviously, that was written before he halted Ukraine aid. Optimistic Nihilist, thank you very much for the £10 super chat, my friend. It's ironic that both far left and far right have been hoodwinked by Russia. I tend to have sympathies with hard leftists on economics, but their foreign policy is delusional, repulsive, and insane. Yeah, I really don't have that much in common with people on the very hard left because they defend dictators, they defend authoritarian imperialists going around murdering and raping and pillaging in other people's countries. How can they defend that? I don't know how they can defend that. It just seems weird to me. As long as it's not us doing it. If we do it, then it's bad. If Russia does it, it's good somehow. Why this winter flu has been awful and next year could be even worse. Liechtenstein painting for some reason. Trump, I won't put up with Zelenskyy for much longer. Yeah, we see that. And then we've got a picture of Meghan on the front cover of the Mail again because I'm obsessed. The striking similarities to Pammy's show. I don't even know what that means. Pamela Anderson, maybe. PM Starmer warns future Ukraine is vital for our national security. UK must lead from the front to stop Russian menace. There you go. Do you think I'm 80? Rod keeps on rocking. There you go. UK must lead from the front to stop the Russian menace. I agree with that, actually. The Guardian. Got another super chat coming. A name. That's a good name. Target GOP-linked companies and red state companies, e.g. Tesla, but do support blue state, e.g. Apple, as they have kept DEI, which annoys Trump. Yeah, but Apple's also doing deals with the Trump administration, so, and whether they keep DEI or, they've talked about changing their terms of service. Yeah, I think it'd just be a blanket thing across America, because if you annoy enough American companies and go, this is why we're doing it, we're boycotting you because you're American because of Trump. Get rid of Trump and we'll stop boycotting you. Wink, wink. Then the money will turn around and turn on him. Optimistic Nihilist, you're being very generous this morning. Thank you so much for the £10 super chat. I think the government is very hesitant to confiscate any of the Russian assets because they fear it'll lead to other oligarchs withdrawing their investments and bankrupting the UK financial sector. Well, you can use the money that you get to prop up the UK financial sector. And no one was asked about the financial sector taking a massive whack after Brexit when £1 trillion pounds worth of assets, which is a million pounds worth of assets. If you stacked £50 notes up and £50 notes, one on top of the other, it's 6'6". The pile would be 6'6" for $1 million. It would be twice the height of the Burj Khalifa in the tallest building in the world for $1 billion, and for $1 trillion, it would be 5 times the height of the International Space Station. Just so you know how much $1 trillion is, but that got taken out of our banks by the Brexit. Welcome to the Brexit, sir. And then we've got cringy moments from the Oscars, apparently, from the Daily Telegraph. We've got the end of an era. Singing Butler artist dies at 73. We've also got Oscars, the winners, the shocks, and all the awards, which we saw yesterday. That's why newspapers are a bit crap these days, because they report on yesterday's news. US rift with Ukraine grows as Europe seeks ceasefire. Ministers tackle crisis over school special needs. Trump to Zelenskyy, your time's almost up. Peace deal is not hard. President warns in fresh attack on Ukrainian leader. What a peace deal? There's a difference between a peace deal and a surrender deal, you dickhead. And then Milena, there's a picture of her for some reason. Channel 4 used Hamas official's son in loaded documentary, whatever. 3 out of 4 people will be overweight or obese by 2050. UK haunts new allies to keep Putin at bay as Trump launches another broadside. UK approaches Middle East countries to join peacekeeping mission. I think that the that's probably a good idea. We need all the allies we can get. The alliance of the willing. The coalition of the willing, and the rise of the robot lackeys is a Daily Star, because of course it is. And then Financial Times over here, Europeans move towards seizing 200 billion euros of frozen Russian assets. Do it. Paris and Berlin shift stance, race to devise Ukraine peace plan, bid to ensure Kremlin compliance. Seize those assets. Seize those assets. Do it. Seize those assets, buy a load of bombs, bomb the living motherfucking shit out of Moscow. That's it. End of. And they'll go, but they've got nukes. They don't have nukes. They don't fucking work. Half-life, my friends. Half-life. The radioactive decay. Unless you keep topping up that radiation in those missiles, you're not going anywhere. Nude shows claim as data crackdown begins. TikTok child sex probe. This is the disgusting story that big platforms like TikTok are allowing child exploitation to occur on their channels, which needs to stop. Nick and Diff, I have no banking apps, so it prevents me from joining. Optimistic. Oh, sorry, Scott. Is that to join the channel? Last point of order above. I think it's important to point out that if Phil hasn't already, it shows how reliant we are on corrupt foreign finance. Couldn't agree more. Optimistic nihilist. Christopher Bowles, never forget Tim Cook tried to buy Tesla when they abandoned their Apple car R&D. How different things could be. Lee says, I think there's a bit of overhang from the Soviet era where the far left see Russians as socialist comrades, a la Jeremy Corbyn's. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. That's probably it. But I mean, even when it was supporting the Soviets invading Afghanistan, I mean, why? Why would you support that? It's okay if Russia does it. Anne Phillips there. Thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Milena looks awful in a tan suit, not like Obama. Yeah, tan suit. R.I.P. Joey Molland of Badfinger, one of the most jinx-ridden band in history. Badfinger sung Baby Blue, didn't they? Which was used at the end of the last episode, the finale, Felina, of Breaking Bad. I can join Phil's channel, but not this one. Isn't there a join button? There should be a join button. If you press the join button, you should be able to join. I don't know. Maybe you're not allowed to join. I don't know why you're not allowed to join. I'll have to look into that. Google Pay works. Unfortunately, it's giving money to Americans. But then again, Visa and MasterCard are American companies, so every time you use your credit card or debit card, you're giving money to America. So, like I say, it can't be across the board, and it can't be scattergun. We should really have some targeted effects where we go, okay, this week we're going after this country. This country. We're not Russia. This week we're going after this company and bringing them down, bringing their share price down, because that's all they care about. Growth, eternal growth. If you stifle that growth, if you make it go in reverse, they shit their pants. And that's what's going to happen. But America needs a Gandy. It needs a Gandhi-like figure who can get people on board with what they're saying. I mean, Bernie Sanders could do it, to be honest with you. If he could lead a nationwide boycott of certain companies across America, I think he'll do really well. He was historically an independent. He's not really stained with the whole the Russia failure and cowardice of the rest of the Democrat Party, AOC excluded. So, I mean, yeah, I think that he would be a good... Him and AOC, if they started a campaign to boycott certain Trump-loving companies, I think they could be really, really effective. Because don't forget, although 77 million dickheads voted for Trump, 75 million enlightened, beautiful bastards voted for Kamala. 75 million Americans voted to not make this happen. They voted to defend Ukraine and democracy and be a good neighbor to Canada and Mexico, rather than be a good neighbor to Russia, which is what Trump and Vance and Marjorie Taylor Greene want to be. a really good neighbor to Russia. We love you, Russia, because they look at Russia, they look at Saudi Arabia, they look at the suppression of trans people, gay people, women, any kind of dissent, any kind of liberalism. They see that and they're like, yes, that's what I want. I want a world where everyone's fucking miserable and there's no creativity, there's no art, and every movie is just some badly acted adaptation of a bit of the Bible we're allowed to read because the rest of it's a bit horrible, to be honest. Optimistic Nihilist for another super chat. Thank you so much. I lose sympathy for much of the left when they fixate on Ukraine's evils but deny Chinese, Russian atrocities against minorities. Insincere hypocrisy. Yeah, but what have they got? What did Ukraine do? It said, we want to join NATO because the guys next to us invaded our fucking country and took Crimea. So can we, have some protection against them doing that again in the future and maybe coming even further into our country than just a little bit of the Donbass, which is what they did. Understand why he said he wanted to join the EU? It's not up to Moscow who joins NATO. It's nothing to do with them. It's not up to Moscow who joins the EU. It's nothing to do with them. And if they don't like what another country's doing, tough shit. I don't like what America's doing. It doesn't give us the right to go and fucking invade America. And the next fucking Texas. Not that I want Texas. Optimistic Nihilist says, also worth pointing out that anyone who thinks being a tanky, its roads nowhere, please avoid being captured by these morons and Russian shills. Yeah. Well, there's nothing. There's nothing. There was a revolution in a fairly bloodless I know that wasn't completely bloodless, but fairly bloodless revolution in Ukraine in 2014. It was a democratic revolution, and since then we've had democratic elections. They have now been suspended because the country is in war, same as in the UK between 1935 and 1945. There were no elections. The country was at war. We changed leaders without an election. It was Neville Chamberlain and then it was Winston Churchill. We did that without an election because we were at war. And we did what needed to be done at a time of war. What doesn't need to be done at times of war is putting people in danger and making them go out to a fucking polling station and vote. Oh, I wonder if the Russians are going to drop any drones on us while we're fucking voting. Do you think? Absolutely ridiculous. So what have they done? What has Ukraine done? If you listen to the likes of the hard leftists like Nigel Farage, wink wink, they'll say they poked the Russian bear and they deserve everything they get. How dare they poke the Russian bear? How did they poke? Did they invade Russia? Did they invade Russia? No, they didn't. They just said they wanted to be part of the EU, and Putin couldn't have that. His ego couldn't take it. That one of the former Soviet states didn't want to be part of the hideously corrupt Moscow cabal that has been running that country into the ground for the last 25 years. Always meddling and taking advantage. Putin must trust his doubles and personal staff. Well, I don't think anyone's going to take out Putin anytime soon. He's too powerful. Russia was doing the same in Georgia, Moldova, and Hungary. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, Georgia, they've taken over the government with their sleazebag familiars. And they took one third of Georgia. Georgia's not that big a country. They took South Ossetia and Abkhazia in 2008. They just fucking took it and no one stopped them. And they were empowered by that. And then they took Crimea and a bit of Donbass in 2014 and no one stopped them doing that. And then they've taken a fifth of Ukraine, a huge tract of territory, bigger than the United Kingdom. That's how much they've got. And we're just going to give it to them? Just going to give them that huge tract of land for what? Because they invaded it? Using foreign mercenaries who murdered and raped and pillaged with impunity? Bastards. Anyway. Jeremy Corbyn's comments on Ukraine have certainly been interesting. Interesting, not surprising. You know how I feel. You should watch this channel for a while. You know how I feel. Anyway, right, so that's it for this morning. I've got to go. You go listen to James O'Brien. Might calm you down a bit. If you're lucky. We can fight back against this. It's not over. Europe is going to have to step up. That's fine. We can arm Ukraine. We can fund Ukraine. We can do that. We can take money from the Russian oligarchs and fund it that way, which is something that we should certainly do. And America can go do its own thing. Imagine if we had a total news blackout on America. Like we just didn't find out what America was doing. Just left it. That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Let's find something else to talk about. Would be great. But yeah, don't worry. Don't worry too much, because Europe can defend itself. It's never had to up to this point for 80 years, but it will. It will have to, and we will do it, because Russia in 2025 is not Nazi Germany in 1939. It doesn't have the people power. It doesn't have the equipment. It doesn't have the weapons. It doesn't have fuck all. All it's got is a horrible little orange slug monster, a tangerine twat, Cheeto Voldemort in the White House, being disgusting and slobbering all over Vladimir Putin. Pathetic. It's craven. It's cowardly. That's America today. Well, you know, if I was American, you know, I'd find it very, very difficult to find things to be proud about at the moment. I really would, of your country. I mean, you know, pride goes before a fall and all that, but normally there's a few things, there's a few lights on the horizon. You go, well, at least we got that. At least we got that. America right now, it's got nothing. Nothing but treachery, backstabbing, betrayal. That's what it's got. Nothing else. Nothing else remains alongside that colossal wreck. Anyway, new tariffs come into place today on all goods coming in from Canada and Mexico, pretty much, and they're doubling the tariffs on China as well. So good luck with the American economy. Have to see what happens. Donald the Hutt, says Liz Allen. You're not wrong, Liz. Hey, listen, if you've enjoyed the show and you do fancy joining us on here, just please join the join button, press the join button, and join as a member, and you get a little rose after your name, and also you get your name in the credits. And if you want to give us a like on the way out, that doesn't cost anything. Just give us a like, and that'd be great. And I'll see you tonight when I'll be hosting Geoscope with Ollie Bowler Hat Man. So until then, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.